All right, gang. So we just got done filling the bait tank up with sardines, and now we're up at the spot, and we're throwing a little chum in the water, and you're gonna start to see the Snook and the groupers boy. They're one by the tree. They're boiling around back behind the tree. In the little cove, there's another boil back there behind the tree. Fish are starting to get all fired up and ready. There's a cast. You can see the boil on the bait. Hook up. There you go. Got a nice Snook coming in right there. You watched it eat the bait on the quick, easy cast right there in that little cove of mangroves. And there's fish jumping around back behind us there. Another one boiling around. Fish are all over here in these mangroves. So we're just going to sit here and fish for a little while, and you can watch us enjoy the view. Mangrove fishing at its finest in Lopez Mateo down in the Baja. I'll have information for you. Leave a message, leave a comment at the end of this video if you'd like to know where I was and how we were doing this. And our guide, Ruben, see the fish are starting to bite, so Ruben's going to throw the anchor out so we don't have to keep drifting back and forth across the spot. And it's like I say in all my videos, anchoring is crucial if you want to catch fish. If you're just out to drive the boat and have a good time, then keep drifting around. But if you want to actually catch some fish, you want to get anchored on the spot, present the bait proper. Here's Mark. Going to be hooked up here in a second. There he is. He's hooked up. Winding in a nice fish there. I'm operating the drone. Mark's got a nice robalo here. We're going to end up netting it. Ruben's still putting the anchor away. That's how quick this is happening. He just got done setting the anchor, putting all his stuff back under the dash, and we got a nice robalo coming in right here. I'm going to drop this drone control, grab the net here in a minute, and get that little booger up on the boat. There he is. Nice robalo. Nice robalo, nice Snook. Mark's trying to get the net, getting the net, handing it to Captain Dave. I got to do something here. I got to put down something. I got to do something. Put down the drone control. Net that little robalo straight up in the air with the net. Don't swing it in like you're scooping ice cream. Straight up, then dump the fish out of the net. There you go. Nice, quick, and easy. That's how you net a fish. That's the proper way. Any other way is the wrong way. I'm showing them one more time. You straight up. Don't scoop it like ice cream. Straight up, dump the fish out. That way you don't take anyone's head off with the handle of the net. You're not trying to scoop ice cream. It's, put the net away so it's out of everyone's way. And we're back to fishing. Watch this. Show you where we are fishing in the mangroves. The exact spot. You got to kind of toss your bait and get into the zone here. Let's bring now they got there. So right there in that little cove of kelp, just inside the dead tree where I'm throwing the chum, that's where you want to throw your bait. Right where that chum just got thrown, that's the hot spot to throw your bait. But you got to really cast right if you want to get into the zone where the fish are. It's all about bait placement. And like I say in a lot of my seminars when I'm talking to you, you got to learn how to cast. There was a nice boil on a piece of chum. Ruben's throwing the chum right in that little zone. You'll see fish jumping around in there. Mark's going to make a perfect cast in there. There's a guy casted right in the zone, but nobody wanted to eat that bait. But they like Mark's bait. He's going to get bit again here in a second. Just watch us here, though. I'm just trying to show you exactly the spot where you need to throw your bait. You got to get it up right along the edge of the mangrove roots. That's where those Snook are hanging out, right on the roots. Here, I'm going to break my line off, and then I have to retie here. Caught a little mangrove, snap it off, bring it in. Now I'm going to retie, put on another little piece of Opsin fluorocarbon and a number 4/0 Mustad thin wire bronze hook to make sure that the fish can't see the line, can't see the hook. It's all about stealth as you can here. We're fishing, where we're casting to is about 1 foot to 1.5 feet deep, maybe not even that, maybe less than 12 inches, but it's very, very shallow in there, and those Snook are hanging out right on the edge of the roots, right where Ruben's been throwing the chum. And you're watching along here, we're retying, you're seeing the tidal movement. The tide is actually flowing out. In order for these fish to bite, it's just like current in the ocean. We're in the mangroves in Lopez Mateo. And in order for the fish to bite, there has to be some type of tidal movement. Normally, it's better when it's been super high and it's the tide's starting to come out. It's flushing all the bait fish by the fish. Another time when it's almost peak high tide, that's another good time in the mangroves. But I find from when it goes from the highest it can till when it's starting to flow out, that's when they really get excited and start biting. But you can see the flow as you see the leaves flowing by here. You can see the tidal movement. It's crucial in order to get bit. Oh, there's a nice boil on a bait right there. I think Mark just hooked a nice fish right there. Yep, Mark's on. There you go. Another nice robalo for Mark. You watched that one eat the bait while I was trying to show you the leaves and how they're flowing by. That's the tidal movement. That's what's causing all that. We're not in a river. We're in the ocean, really. We're in the mangroves in Lopez Mateo. You see how I flung my bait in there? That's the spot. I got a little short bite. It didn't stick. Mark's getting a nice robalo, a nice snook. They're netting it. There it is. Coming in. Doesn't want to die. Ruben's going to scoop some ice cream here. There you go. Ah, nice. Another nice robalo on the boat. But you can really see the tidal movement good now. All the leaves flowing, the way it's spinning around there. All this is super important. It's super important for you to see it. It's super important for you to understand it. The tide was super high. We got there right as the tide started to go out. Outgoing tide, going from high to low. This is what makes those fish bite. It's super crucial that you pay attention to the way the tide's moving. You have to look at your tide charts. It's not about getting there super early. It's not about being the first one. It's about being there when the tide is flowing the right direction. It's all about tidal movement. That's going to make or break your day when you're fishing. If there's no tidal movement, if it's not flowing at all, or if it's going the wrong way, if it's going from super low, just starting to come in, to go to high, that's not a good time either, because there won't be any water in the areas where the fish are, and they're not ready to feed. But if you can go from the highest tide to the low, the fish get really excited, because what it does is it starts to move that bait fish around and wash it by their houses. This is their house, this little cove right here that our guide knew so well. But the key is fly line and a bait, because you're fishing in a foot of water or less. So you don't want to be throwing a big sinker in there and hanging the roots of those mangroves. You actually want to be fly lining. That means fishing with no weight at all, a hook tied directly to your line. I use a little piece of fluorocarbon just to make sure the fish can't see the line. And then a little bit of chum, like Mark just threw that piece of bait in there, right on the edge of the mangroves. A little bit of chum just to let them know there's some food washing by there. Triggers that little switch in their head that makes them know that they need to start to eat, because there's food there. So it's all about chumming. It's all about tidal movement. There's some chum going in there. You might see a few boils now come off of that if you pay attention and look real close. But everything, like I always say, everything matters. And everything works in conjunction. So we anchored up because we found out the fish were there and they wanted to bite. When we first got there, we threw a few baits. We caught some fish there. I'm hooked up. Mark's hooked up. Mark's hooked up. Got another little jack. Ruben's going to just release it. Not our targeted species, but it is a fish nonetheless. But it's really fun. There's a boil right behind the outboard. You revert back up and look. You'll see a little boil. I think it's a jack right behind the outboard. But basically, this video is to show you exactly what you need to do, where you need to be positioned, why it's so important to anchor. Because, I mean, yeah, we could probably catch a few fish, but we'd be driving back and forth, back and forth, back and forth across this little cove of mangroves. So it's really important that everything flows together. Everything matters. Anchoring matters. Chum matters. Size of hook matters. Fluorocarbon matters. Castability matters. Everything matters when you want to try to put together a nice day of fishing in the mangroves. All these things matter. If you can't cast the conventional reel, if you can't cast a little level wind reel like the Akuma Komodos 300 series, something like that I like to use, If you can't cast that, get yourself a little spinning reel. Get yourself a little spinning rod, a little spinning reel. You can fish the mangroves just fine. At the end of this video, we'll be giving out if you like, just ask a question, leave a comment, and I'll be giving Ruben's contact information and the Airbnb we stayed in information. Here's a quick look at going up high, looking at the mangroves that we're fishing. I'm going to just fly up here, let you see the tide's going out, so it's washing all the bait out of these mangroves. See how it's coming down there? Water's flowing down, washing all the bait fish out of the mangroves. This is just a beautiful area to fish, like nowhere else in the Baja. We're back in the little cove there, showing you cast right into the spot, right into the zone. But Captain Dave's not doing real well as far as hook ratio. Getting the cast down, getting into their house, but not putting together a lot of fish. Unlike Mark, fishing on the back of the boat there, he's been catching fish after fish after fish. But this really isn't about watching us catch fish, because there's a million videos out there where you can watch people catch fish. This is to teach you what you're looking for, what conditions you want, how you want to set up. I'm more interested in flying the drone and making sure I keep it in the right spot so that you can see what we're talking about, fishing in that little cubby hole. Most people would just pass right by that. But that little cubby right there where those dead mangroves go to the live mangroves, right in that little slot right there, that's where you want to throw your bait. If you see Mark make a good cast while you're watching this video, you'll see him immediately hook up. When Ruben throws a little bit of chum in there, they jump around a little bit. And Mark threw a little piece of bait in there. That's pretty much right where that bait landed is where you want to be casting to. Little fish just deep rolled on it. Little deep roll boil there on that chum. But I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that everything flows together. Chumming, anchoring, castability. There's some chum going in there. Maybe we'll see a few boils there. Maybe a few fish will jump up and try to eat that bait that's drifting through that zone right now. But, yep, there's a boil right there, right at the end of the dead tree, right where they just threw another piece of chum. Mark wound in another fish. He's hooked up, bringing him in. Another fish. Fish are jumping all over in there where the chum is. Mark's got another little jack. Another boil right on the edge of the dead mangroves. Boil right behind the boat, right on the motor. There's fish after fish after fish in here. Just keep an eye on the conditions. Always make sure that you're there when the tide's flowing. That'll help you tremendously to catch a few fish. Let's move the drone around here a little bit more. See a little bit more of what's going on here. I think you're starting to get the point. I think you start to understand what I'm talking about and how important it is that everything flows together and everything's working all together as a team. There is a lot of snagging going on. You're going to snag those trees and branches a lot. It's just part of the game. So you need to bring extra hooks and extra fluorocarbon. Bring a couple of spools of that Opsin. We're using 5 and 50 pound fluoro because the fish aren't line shy in here. It's just about making the right cast. Plus, if you fish anything lighter than 35, there's really zero chance of getting it out of there if you get snagged in the bushes. Another little aerial view of what I'm talking about. These are the mangroves of Lopez Mateo. These are the mangroves of Mag Bay. Lopez Mateo area. You've heard about the mangroves. You've heard about Lopez Mateo. This is the area. This is where it's all happening at. And there's just so many places you could fish. Now we got a lot of tidal movement. It's coming out faster now. You can see the water's getting dirtier. I'm showing you, I'm trying to get a good look in here of the water flow. Showing you all the stuff floating down. And it's amazing that the fish can actually pick the bait out with all those leaves and branches floating down there. That they can pick a bait through that. That's what I was trying to show you here. It's just amazing to me. But I think they're like getting into that dirty, brownish, sandy water and then ambushing the bait as it goes through that little cove I'm showing you right there, down to this dead tree right here. That's the zone. That's where we keep getting bit. That's where it seems like we're catching more fish, right in that little cubby hole. Right in that little nook right there. There's the boat. There we are again. Back to fishing. Mark's trying to fill the... Mark's checking the depth of the water there. I'm trying to fly the drone around, make sure to show you as much cool stuff as I possibly can. But, I don't know. I love fishing in these mangroves. It sure is fun. It's so much fun, and the scenery is spectacular. And as you can see, there's nobody around. There's no other boats. There's nothing. We're 20 miles from anybody. We're up the northern part of the mangroves. We're 20 miles from anywhere. Have some water here and get ready and start fishing again. Maybe I could catch a fish on the camera here. So far, we haven't caught anything, but I was able to explain to you how the mangroves work and how it all comes together and how important it is to pay attention to what's going on when you're fishing in the mangroves. So let's see if we can't catch a fish here. Let's walk back, get a bait. Maybe throw a little chum in there. No, just get a bait. Get a nice greenback sardine. Walk on up to my rod. See if we can't cast into that little cubby hole that I was talking about. Maybe we'll get lucky. Let's see what happens here. Pinning the bait on. Stepping up on the bow. Flipping it into the little nook right there. Perfect position. Maybe we'll get a nibble. Ah, hook up. There you go. Okay, finally Captain Dave catches a fish. I know you didn't think I was ever going to catch one, but we got one. A little grouper. Little baby broomtail grouper. Right on the boat. Hold it up, let everybody see it. There you go. Back in the water. All right, let's see what it looks like from the perspective of me holding the rod. See how it looks real quick. One more fish. Get that. Let's get it back in there. Oh, same bait. Dave's throwing the same bait back in there. Took it right out of the grouper's mouth, threw it right back in there again. Uh-oh, got bit again on the same bait. Look at that. Little baby robalo, little baby snook. Little baby snook. All right, look at that. 2 fish in a row. That is absolutely amazing. That hardly ever happens when Captain Dave's fishing. 2 fish in a row? Come on. Come on. 2 fish in a row. All right, let's see what this looks like from my view where I'm standing now. Let's jump back to the other camera. Chuck a bait in there, and we'll jump over to the other camera and see what it looks like, what I'm looking at in there. There, right in the spot again, right in the zone. All right, there it is. Cast that bait right into the zone. Uh-oh, uh-oh, we're getting a nibble. Nibble, 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 nibble. Make sure the line's tight. Here we go, here we go. Hook up. We got one. I think we got a little robalo this time. Yeah. And that's fishing in the mangroves, gang. Fishing in the mangroves. That's what it looks like from where I'm standing. You were watching it from the air. Now you're seeing it from my view, right where I'm standing.
Yeah, we're gonna
Robalo
need the net.
101.
It's a nice robalo.
Snook fishing in the mangroves.
Look at
Thanks
this
for
one.
joining us. There's a nice snook.
Told you.
Net. Thank you very much for watching. Leave a comment at the end. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Let you know where we were at. We'll give you Reuben's phone number.
Yeah.
You can go fishing with
Reuben
up there in
There he
Lopez
is.
Mateo. Thanks for joining us.
Hell yeah.
No.
Oh,
Hello.
That's your tree.
Yeah.